So there's a few things that I do to get my car ready for a long road trip. I'm going to go through what I personally do. Sorry about any background noise. And what I start with the actual book that comes with, well, hopefully you have this for your car, the actual book that shows you all of your maintenance that you need to do and all of your scheduled maintenance and everything else. If not, you can find them online. And I also keep a logbook showing everything that I've done to the car. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that's what I start with. And I check to see when my latest work was done. Check to see what I did. Check to see when my last oil change was done and everything else. And I check to see if there's anything else that I'm keeping an eye on or checking up on to see if there's anything that needs to be looked at. Okay, so now I start looking at everything on the car. About a week before I want to go away, I really start this process, preferably at least a week, if not a little bit more, in case you find anything. I check my fluids. In this case, I check my oil, check to see what it looks like. I usually change my oil, whether or not it needs to be changed. I check my brake fluid, see what it looks like, see if any needs to be added. I check my coolant. I check my trans fluid, and I also check my battery to see what the voltage looks like when the car is running. Most cars, you want to see a voltage. I think it's about 16 or a little bit higher when the car is. 14 or a little bit higher when the car is running. You also want to make sure that your windshield washer fluid is full. And while we're talking about the washer fluid, you also need to take a look at your actual wiper blades themselves. You probably want to change them out before you go on vacation, and actually, if you're going for a long drive, then actually you want to change them out well before, so you can kind of see how they look, see if you like them or not. I personally also take the old ones if they're not too old, and I keep the set of old ones in the back of the car, just in case I rip a wiper blade or something happens to it. Especially important if you're going to a cold region where you're getting ice, in case you forget to pull your wipers away from your windshield and you rip them or anything like that. But it's good to have a second set. Okay, you want to check your lights, your tail lights, your marker lights, your directionals. Sometimes it's best to have someone with you to check them out. You want to check them out during the day to make sure that they're working, and then check them out during the night to make sure that your lights are bright enough. In this case, this could really use to be cleaned, possibly polished. I'm getting a little bit of haze through here. So just remember, it's not just important for you to be able to see someone else, it's important for them to be able to see you. Okay, also check my tires to see if the tread looks good, see if the tire itself looks healthy. I check the pressure on all my tires. I check the lug nuts to make sure that they're all torqued down to the right spec. You check the pressure on your tires almost always cold. I've never seen a car yet that doesn't want you to check it cold. And you could usually find the pressure either in the booklet that comes with your car, the actual manual for your car, or you can check it out on the inside of the door jamb. There's usually a label that shows the actual pressures. You also want to take a look at your brake pads. Usually I'd like to take each and every tire off. This is also a good opportunity to rotate your tires if you haven't done so recently. Check all my brake pads to make sure that they look like they've got enough meat left on them. I also take a look at all my suspension to give things a good shake. I check to make sure nothing is loose. I check to see if anything's rubbing. So I'll jack the car up at each corner. I'll take the tire off and look at everything underneath to make sure that it looks good. Use obviously proper safety procedures when you've got a car up off the ground. While I have the car up, I also like to look underneath to see if anything's hanging down, anything looks like it's loose. And with the car being cool and obviously not being just driven, it's not a bad time either to check and give the exhaust a little bit of a shake to make sure that nothing's loose there either. So inside the car, I'm going to want you, well, at least I like to check to make sure everything's working properly. Check to make sure my AC is nice and cool. Check to make sure I've got no dummy lights on. Check to see when my next oil change is. I like to use a little Sharpie to write that down. So AC, heat, make sure that my temperature gauge, everything is working properly. Check to make sure that my windows are opening and closing properly, that my locks work. Test my keys to make sure that they're working. If I have a second set of keys and I'm driving with someone, have them carry the second set of keys just in case, so I don't have to call, get an unlock or anything silly like that. Test my cruise control. For me, make sure my radio is working properly. That's important to me. It makes me, helps me to to do those long drives without, being bored out of your skull. I also, now this is just for me, once again, I also like to make sure that I've got a good phone holder, so that I'm, not picking up my phone. I try to make sure to put my phone in drive mode so that everyone knows that I'm driving, so they get a message. I like a radar detector. Obviously, you shouldn't speed, but for me, it helps to stop me from speeding, so that even when I get those false alerts, it helps me to keep my eye on my speed. I also like to have a dash cam in every car that I own. Dash cams are really helpful, and I've actually already had them help twice with what was potentially something that could have been blamed on myself or my wife, and then it ended up being, we were able to prove that it was someone else's fault. In fact, in one, we were able to prove that it was entirely someone else's fault. Actually with both of them. So these are what I find to be important. The next thing that I do after that is I clean the car. And I mean, I clean the inside and the outside as much as I possibly can. I make sure that it's clean and ready to go for a long trip, because I don't want to sit in a dirty car the whole time, right? And I'm probably going to make the car dirty while I'm driving it all the time. I get all my things that I need, all of my everything that I would ever need. My hand sanitizer for myself. I'll have water, sunscreen, because even though you're in a car, you do get sun on you. I have a good set of sunglasses. I personally like to bring eye drops with me just to keep my eyes moistened and everything. I used to wear contacts. I got the laser correction surgery, so I have to make sure my eyes stay wet. If you have contacts or glasses, something to clean your glasses, an extra set of contacts is important. So cleaning the inside and the outside of the vehicle. And on the outside of the vehicle, I also like to make sure not just washing it, but giving it a good wax to try to protect everything from any dirt or debris. It's a good idea also to have a garbage bag, some form of paper towels or something to clean up messes, because they are going to happen. And anything else that you need to keep your occupants occupied, so that the kids don't drive you crazy. And also, don't forget to check to make sure that your registration and insurance are all up to date, and that your plates are on nice and tight, just that you probably, hopefully, won't get pulled over, and if you do, you'll have everything ready to go. The last thing that I like to make sure that I have packed is an inexpensive set of hand tools, just in case. I also like to bring whenever I change out the serpentine belt, whatever you want to call it. Whenever I change it out, I keep the old one, and even if it's a little cracked, I keep it in the trunk, just in case. That way I've got it there just in case there's an issue. Keep some water, some radiator fluid, rags, a little first aid kit. But just kind of just in case stuff. You think of what would I absolutely need if the car broke down? I mean, besides your cell phone, of course. But that's the last thing that I like to keep. You can get these kits pretty cheap from Amazon or Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight usually runs specials on them, and I try to keep these in any car that I think has a possibility of breaking down, or in any car that I'm going to be taking on a long road trip. A couple of days before I go on my long trip, I like to take the car out for a trip around town, maybe get some highway miles on it, some regular road miles on it, see if there's anything else that's going wrong. Try to do that a few days before I leave, just to make sure that there are no issues. It's a little bit overkill, but it does help. So usually these things help keep me from getting into trouble. Hopefully they can help you too. Thank you very much for watching.